Infor Factory Track for CSI, just-in-time production. Factory Track has several JIT production parameters to control the validations, displayed field, and processing options that are permitted as part of the JIT production process. These are defined on the transaction set parameters form for the JIT production transaction. For this training, we've enabled all the parameters in order to show where those fields appear in the transaction steps. In order to start the JIT production process, from the Factory Track Warehouse Mobility main menu, click on the Make It icon. This then navigates to the production screen where you click on the JIT production icon. To record a JIT production on non-lot, non-serial item, enter or click on the search icon to search and select the warehouse list for the warehouse ID where the items are located. This can also be defaulted to the user's warehouse based on configuration setting on the user form. Enter or search and select the item for which you are reporting the JIT production. Factory Track then displays the item description. Enter the quantity of items produced. The to container field defines whether the items being reported will be placed in a container or placed into a storage location. Note that this is defaulted based on the transaction set parameters. In this case, the parameter has been enabled, resulting in a default value of yes. When the to container field is yes, enter or search and select the container ID to which the items will be placed. Note that this scenario also removes the need to enter storage location. If the to container field is no, the location field must be defined. Enter or search and select the location ID to which the items will be placed. Note this field is only enabled if the put away enable parameter is selected on the transaction set maintenance form. If not enabled, a warehouse parameter needs to be set to specify a default production receipt location to be used. If the enter employee parameter on the transaction set maintenance form is selected, Factory Track provides the option to enter or search and select the employee ID to be reported with this transaction. If the enter shift parameter on the transaction set maintenance form is enabled, Factory Track provides the option to enter or search and select the shift to be reported with this transaction. Enter a document number if desired to be recorded for this transaction. Click on the Process button to continue. Note that once the process is successful, and if the transaction set maintenance is enabled to allow cross-docking, Factory Track prompts the user if the item is eligible for a cross-dock scenario. To record a JIT production on a lot tracked item, a similar process with additional lot-specific field is used. We enter or search and select the lot ID to be used to track these items. All other fields are the same as previously described. Click on the Process button to continue. Note that in the event this item is both lot and serial tracked, Factory Track displays the Next button instead of the Process button. To record JIT production on a serial tracked item, a similar process with additional serial specific fields is also used. After completing the initial entry form, Factory Track prompts the user to define the serials by clicking on the Next button instead of the Process button. The serial definition screen is then presented. Note that the quantity entered on the initial screen defaults to the total quantity field to indicate the number of serials that must be defined before processing. The user has two methods available. We can use auto-generation of serials or manual assignment. If yes is selected for the Generate Serials field, then the Process button becomes enabled to allow for completion of the process and serials are generated as part of the process request. For manual assignment, the Scan field is displayed to indicate how many serials have been scanned in the process so far. We can enter scan or select and search the serial number to be assigned and continue until the scan quantity and the quantity required are equal. Factory Track then presents the processing options. We can press on the Process button to complete the JIT production transaction. Click on the Show List button to display the captured serials, or click on the Clear List to clear all the captured serials and start again. JIT production processing is a primary component of the Kanban Replenishment system. For more detailed information on Kanban, please refer to the Kanban configuration and usability videos. Let's demonstrate this with the Kanban item AU45522. This Kanban item is set up for a Kanban source of JIT production. Note there are four types of Kanban replenishment sources: JIT production, inventory, purchase order, and transfer order. JIT production reporting process supports replenishment when the transaction set maintenance is enabled for Kanban auto delivery and when an open Kanban request for the item is available. To fulfill the open Kanban request for this JIT production item, we enter, search or select the item ID for the Kanban item. Factory Track then determines if there is an open Kanban replenishment request for this item. If a request is open, the Kanban ID field will appear. We then enter, search or select the Kanban ID for the open request to be fulfilled. We enter the quantity and any optional fields and click on Process button to complete the JIT production process. Once processed, the Kanban ID will reflect as in stock.